So what we're talking about here is stick work, and then we're gonna go into offense. Okay, so please feel free to ask any questions at any time, like interrupt. Let's like just make this fun and have an open dialogue, okay? So no question is a bad question. So first of all, so stick work. An important part of the game right now is having the ball in your shooting pocket. So there's like a U here, this string, and there's a string across. You want the girls to have a shooting pocket, and you'll see a lot of tennis rackets, probably at the youth level, but you wanna like let them know they're trying to build a shooting pocket here. This is where you want the ball to sit, okay? This is kind of like the old game, having the ball sit here on your stick, and everything's played up here now, okay? So the ball's in your shooting pocket. You wanna make sure there is a pocket there in your players' sticks. Okay, so they can like build that on their own. They can work their stick at home, okay? But you just wanna make sure. A lot of the newer sticks have the shooting pocket. So what you wanna do is you have, depending what hand's their dominant hand. So if I'm a righty, my left hand's at the bottom of my stick, okay? And my right hand's about 1/3 of the way up, okay? And when you wanna make sure that they're using their fingertips. So everything should be in their fingertips. You'll see at the youth level, it's called like white knuckles. They'll grip this stick really hard and you can't do much. You can't throw the ball with your stick grip that hard. Everything should be fingertips, okay? That's what you wanna do with your stick. So ball in the shooting pocket, and then everything else is fingertips, nice and smooth, nice and easy. So a big thing we talk about is triple threat. So raise your hand if you've heard of triple threat. Okay, yeah, so that's like a key phrase right now. So basically, triple threat, so my bottom hand's near the butt end, my other hand's 1/3 of the way up, the ball's in my shooting pocket, and I have this elbow. You want it in an L. A lot of people will sink it down to throw from here. You want this elbow in an L and out from your body. So your stick has to be away from your body, okay? So just make sure you correct your players when they drop it here. Like, you don't want these dinosaur arms, short arms. You wanna get this elbow out and away. Okay, so the ball's still in my shooting pocket. So we're here, elbow up and away, and then my front elbow is pointed toward my target, the butt end of my stick's at my target, and you always step with your opposite foot forward. So if I'm a righty, my left foot forwards, ball's in my shooting pocket, okay, my triple threat, my arm's a nice elbow, I drag and I snap the ball over. Okay, so you'll just have them be paired up, okay, you'll be teaching this, they bring it back, so you're dragging, snapping the ball over. Okay? When they're doing the follow through, make sure they're using their bottom hand. They have to use this butt end of their stick when they're passing with their partner, okay? And everything you do on your right, you have to do on your left with them. Every single skill. So everything you do on the right, you gotta do on the left, okay? And they're stepping with the opposite foot here. A good way to break it down is to do one-handed stick work. So if you're going one-handed, you have to bring your stick a little bit higher on your stick, your hand a little bit higher on your stick. So you can have your players do one-handed stick work. They're here. The elbow part's important. They're dragging, snapping, okay? And your wrist is open to start. So when I catch here, my wrist, we call it open. So my fingertips are towards the ceiling. When I follow through, it's closed, okay? And I follow through at my target. So this is a good way to just break down that stick work, isolate the hands. So one cradle, pass it off. One-handed snaps, we call it, turn your wrist over. Okay, so you do it on the right, you do it on the left. We can just go through like a basic partner passing stick work that we would do. So you'd go through that, you'd do dominant one hand, dominant top hand, then you do bottom hand, then you go to the other side with all the drills. We also do slingshots, so you're basically asking for it on the opposite side of your body. So I'll pass it off, she's asking for it over there, she comes across to catch. You're basically getting a bad pass, bring it across to catch, okay? So working on this, just getting them to be able to catch the ball anywhere around their body. So they can come here for some slingshots. You do the other side as well, obviously, and then you can just bring it across and pass. So the other part, you just catch, bring it across, catch, bring it across, okay? There's tons you can do. For quick sticks, you bring them a little bit closer, okay? You're here, you're still in triple threat, butt end at your target, and release, okay? So you're buttoned at your target, no cradle, release. We like to end a lot of the stick work, like 20 quick stick right, 20 quick stick left, first team to do it, sit down. Okay, so make it a little fun, make it a competition. Another part of stick work that's really big right now is getting range on your stick. So the only way to get range means like get your stick outside your body. The only way to be able to do that is to have these hands down low. Okay, so if you have kids that are all choked up, they can't like be able to, they're not gonna be able to fake if this hand's too high on their stick. So what we do is called 4-corner fakes. So if this is my partner across from me, we're gonna fake high, we're gonna fake across our body, we're gonna fake nice and low, so drop your body and change levels, and then we're gonna fake across our body. Bring the stick over here. What you'll notice when they bring the stick over here, they'll cross their arms, okay? Make sure they're not doing that. You wanna get this butt end behind their butt end, basically. Okay, so make sure this butt end's coming behind, all right? And you can turn your body. Make sure they're not being statues with that. Okay, so if we were gonna do 4-corner fakes with my partner, so I'm gonna go high, across, and when we're faking, we're bringing that stick out far. Across, we're gonna go low, we're gonna go opposite across, and then we're gonna pass it to our teammate. She's gonna do the same thing. She's gonna mirror exactly what I did. She's faking that goalie, okay? And if you have defenders saying like, why am I faking? Because if I'm in the clear, so if I'm clearing the ball up, I might need to fake a pass over here and then go. Okay, so it's just as important for the defenders to do it. With this, okay, we also want them to get super comfortable with their stick. So we do what's called swings. So we'll come here, we'll be in triple threat, we'll swing it behind, kind of like that fake before tap, bring it up, okay? And we'll do this with our partner. So I'll pass, she'll do a swing behind, tap, give it back to me, okay? So we're trying to get them super comfortable with having range on their stick and being able to play anywhere around their body. The next level stuff you can do, so who here with their group currently does like Twizzlers, BTBs, let them get creative, anybody? Some of us. What age, I already forgot to ask, what age group are we coaching? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, any first seconds? Okay, all right, so what is fun, you want to do stick tricks and stuff and introduce them to the advanced things, okay? You want to introduce it to them so that they can like practice it on their own. They feel like they're able to do advanced things and they'll have fun doing it. So with the swing that we just did, okay, we're getting range on our stick, we're tapping, okay? From here to do a Twizzler, we swing, tap, we bring the stick back, and then it's a push-pull to my teammate. So here, swing, back, push-pull to my teammate, okay? This is great for in a game if your hands are stuck, you can't get them free, or if your back's to the goalie, a nice little Twizzler to my teammate, okay? Another stick trick to introduce to them or something, an advanced skill is a BTB. So if G is gonna do a BTB, it's all right. It's okay, G. If she's gonna do a BTB, you have to make sure your body turns. So if you notice, we can't be completely square to one another. Okay, so our body has to turn and then it's a snap. So it's a push-pull to my teammate. So if I catch the ball, I bring it back, I push-pull to my teammate and it snaps it over. Okay, so I'm here. Make sure you bring the stick back, it's a push-pull. Okay, do we have any questions about those two? And that can be a pass or a goal, or a shot on goal, on cage. Any questions about those? And then there's fun little things you can do. So if like younger kids, you can say, we're gonna give you 5 minutes, come up with a stick routine with your teammate. Like come up with something silly. And then you have the kid who's never played lacrosse before, but she could do a round off back handspring or something, or she's a gymnast. She does a split into her stick work or whatever. And you make it fun and make those kids who don't feel as comfortable with their stick able to enjoy it and have fun. Just getting more comfortable. This is a silly one. Your legs are open and you're just snapping the ball through your legs with your teammate. Okay, you're going one-handed, just snapping through with your teammate. Next, we'll talk about switching. So obviously you want them to be able to switch hands. So when we pass and we switch, so catch, switch, throw, you'd call it out, you're making sure they're in triple threat, they switch and are able to move their body, okay? So this is super important, moving lateral, back to triple threat and throw it. And make sure you keep them in the same hand when they ask for it on the next time. They don't switch. So they're always doing left to right and right to left. So it's catch, switch, triple threat, pass. Okay? And there's so much you can do with the stick work in the beginning of your practice and the stick work routine. There's so much stuff you can do to get them creative. You can go, well, we talked about the draw stuff earlier. So you go to the bottom of your stick. We can pass from here. Okay, we're passing just with the butt end of our stick, hands at the bottom. Okay, that's super hard for wrist strength and forearm strength. So we're here, we're just snapping through. It'll be a challenge, okay? If they have to choke up, that's okay. But you can do this with your teammates. You can catch it on the back of your stick, pop it up, catch, pass. Okay, catch back, pop. You can pass immediately off the back of your stick. So all this stuff is just getting them comfortable. So like anything you do is gonna be getting them more comfortable with their stick. Anything for stick work? Yes?
So is triple threat really something you decide to do in 5, 6?
As early as you possibly can, like the number one thing. Triple threat, make sure they're all in it. And we talk a lot about, like, we don't cradle here anymore. Because if I cradle here and G's playing defense on me, and I cradle here and her stick's right there, and I come across and I just checked myself, basically. So, yeah. So really you want to be here. This is what you really want to start to introduce and talk about. Okay, obviously when they're just getting started, if you have to do that, but try to keep them over here then. You don't always want to come here because it's going to get checked and out. So with cradling and teaching that, you want to get them in triple threat, and it's here, and it's called half moon cradles. So you're here working the butt end of your stick. So you work your bottom hand, and it's like a little half moon cradle, and making sure that ball's in their shooting pocket. So you can have them do half moon cradles like towards each other at your practices. So it's here, getting comfortable. And like honestly, tell them to go look in the mirror and see it, because that's like how you really can see what you're doing in this half moon cradle. Okay, so like guys, go home, look in the mirror, watch your half moon cradle, like that's your homework for tonight. And then obviously do that on both sides. But this is what you want to start to incorporate, because now we can hitch from here. So like if I'm faking a goalie, I can now hitch fake. She thinks I'm gonna shoot, and I can do something else. But that bottom hand is super important back here. That was a good question. Any other questions? Nothing? About stick work.
So, I know 7 and 8 and I've got some players that have been doing it the first time ever. What's the best basic drill you can do, besides just playing catch about improving hand-eye coordination?
Okay, it's like popcorn. You're just here, tossing it up, catching. Tracking the ball, toss up, catch. Okay, now you're gonna get a little higher. Toss up, catch. Watching it into your stick. That's like super easy to start with. And then doing stuff like walking at first. So you're gonna all like walk, have the ball on your stick, and then maybe teaching them to walk and cradle. And then you turn it up to a jog, okay? And any games you can play that are fun, like sharks and minnows. Like we're all gonna have the ball on our stick, there's gonna be a bunch of sharks, we're the minnows, and we're just trying to keep the ball on our stick and dodge you all. Like being able to have the ball on my stick while getting through this group of minnows trying to tag me. So anything you can do that makes it fun. Also, have you heard of Hungry Hungry Hippos? You put all the balls in the circle, center circle, and you're each on a team, and you run in, grab the ball, and run out. So anything you can like make it super fun in any kid games and add the stick in the ball. Anything else? Questions? We're good. A couple drills you can do. So obviously that was just partner passing, but then you want to take that on the move. So there can be 2 posts. Does anybody want to come out? You don't have to have a stick, but just to be a post. You have a stick, and maybe one here. So what we do a lot, the post would have balls, so you don't have to actually pass, but just you can stand, and G and I are the workers in the middle. So we'll do all the stick work. Want to just, yeah, perfect, great. So we'll do all this stick work that we just did, but then we'll make it on the move. So if these are our two posts, they start with the balls, they give me a righty in, I give it out, and then we switch. Okay, give it in, one cradle pass, and then we switch. Okay, so we can do all the stick work we just did, now two posts, two in the middle, okay? And another one you can also do on the move, if all three of us are up here, or sorry, all four of us are on this line. This is called a Cali shuttle, so we're all behind each other. Just behind me. So, you're behind me. So I would come up, I'd touch the line, I'd ask for the ball back, one cradle, and I'd pass it to the second person in line. Okay, so we're just doing a Cali shuttle. It's quick and it's short. It's not as monotonous as regular shuttles, and you're really focusing on their first step. So you want them to come, pivot in the same foot and the same side they're asking for the ball in. So you always want to pivot on the same side. You don't want them to also loop. It's nice and quick. So I'm here, I'm going to pivot, ask for the ball. And all the same stick work we did, would do it on the move as well. Okay, and then, thank you guys, appreciate you. Also super simple for the younger grades like you're talking about, we'll do partner passing on the move, and we'll always make sure our stick's upfield. So we could do shuffling to start. So if G and I are shuffling with our sticks upfield, we're just here working the ball, one cradle pass. Okay, we're just working all the way up the field, one cradle pass, shuffling. Then you'll stay in the same lines and you'll have to switch. So we'd be shuffling on the other way back. Okay, and with that you can do running. So now you're on the move running, you can do karaoke, make it fun. Okay, anything you can add in with that. It's totally fine if you drop it. And also pair them with someone who's a better player. And like, don't always put the better players with each other, because that better player will advance that player who's never played before. So I would just suggest, like, make sure they pair and like welcome them, make sure they all know each other's names, and then that they'll make that player better and they'll rise up. But yeah, I would do both hands, and it's okay. They can go up and back 5 times and not catch a ball, but just emphasize, like, how did you respond to dropping the ball? How quickly did you get it back? Were you like running after it? So it's okay to drop it as long as what did you do after? Anything else? All right, you guys ready to talk offense? Yes? Your basic setup is 52, so there's 2 people behind, okay? And then there's 5 people. So your 3 middies should be up top, because if we lose the ball, they're dropping in transition immediately. Okay, any questions with that? 3 middies, 2 attackers, 2 attackers. So this is your basic 52. So if you hear teams call 52, they're usually just setting up in this, okay? You usually want to get one first. So what that means is, how many of you have a team that can pass and catch around the 12 on an attack? Some of us. So if you can, you want to get one. So this is your settled attack. So you want to get one around the 12. So you're all passing and catching, hopefully in your outside hands, catch left, throw right. You're getting one around before you get into any type of motion. Before I even get into that, you all know what a fast break is? Fast break, numbers up situation. So basically, if we have our defenders in, and say this is a recovering defender, okay, they're back because we're faster than them in the midfield, we have a numbers up situation. So in a numbers up situation, you want to move the ball super quick, like no more than 3 seconds in your stick, and that's with any attack anyways. But if we're numbers up here, the defense is going to have to slide low to high, right? So if she's driving, okay, the D has to slide and stop her, okay? And now we have a numbers up situation here, okay? We need to move the ball as quickly as we can. So if we move the ball, okay, D slides, and we need to hit these players who can pinch in. So that's your number 1 look, is a fast break. In the fast break, emphasize to them, move the ball quickly, shouldn't be in your stick more than 3 seconds, find the open player, but hold your shape, okay? So we're gonna go off this for a second. To get them to do this, you wanna do 3v2 work or any numbers up situation. So even if cones, these are 3 cones, these are 3 attackers, you have 2 defenders in. You need them to hold their shape. Like you don't want them to cut, you don't want them to move, they stay in their shape. That doesn't mean stand like a statue, like you can still like move a little bit, but you hold your shape and you find the open girl. This is a good stick work drill also to do in the beginning of practice. You have 3 cones out, 2 defenders in, can be like 10 yards, and you move the ball quickly, find the open girl. Don't move much from your cone. Hold your shape and move the ball, okay? So that just gets the defenders, okay? If this person has the ball, the defender's here, okay, she has ball obviously, and then this defender has 2, they're splitting themselves. You're moving the ball as quickly as you can to the open player. This girl's super big, this one's on ball, and just keeping that shape. So in any man-up situation, you hold your shape and keep your shape. Don't drive, don't cut, not like just hold. So fast break would be number 1. And then you're looking for a slow break. So when you do a slow break, so fast break wasn't there, we didn't have the numbers, D was already back. She came down with the ball, okay? Now we slow break, which means get the ball through X. So as quickly as we can, we get the ball through X. So we're passing it here. And you always wanna stay in the same direction, okay? So we're passing it here, we stay in the same direction. The ball comes here. What happens is these defenders up top, usually at a lot of levels, they're staring at the ball. So these defenders, if my girl's up top, I'm staring at X because that's where the ball just got, and I forget about my person I'm defending up here. That's the perfect time for these middies to backdoor cut, okay? So this would be your slow break. The ball is now here. Now these middies are backdoor cutting these defenders whose heads are turned watching here, okay? So there's so much you can do up top. You can like singly cut, you can do an X cut where she comes across and she comes over, like you're X cutting with each other, okay? You can do double cuts through, okay? But fast break 1, slow break is option 2. And make sure they know that every time. Like this is like almost like a discipline thing. And I feel like I scream it all the time at club. I'm like, fast break, get in your slow break, through X, through X, through X. So just getting them in the habit of pushing it through X always. Okay, now these defenders are staring at their girls, marked, marked, marked. Now no one's gonna probably slide to you, so you should go. So like, that's great. And just like teaching them the difference. If you see ponytail, you cut. If you see them staring, you can drive. Okay, and then you usually wanna go opposite. So as this person has the ball, we're trying to hit this side coming through. You want to hit this cutter coming through. When the ball then transitions through here, we want to hit this cutter coming through. So you usually want to work on diagonals on the cuts. Okay, we good here? All right, cool. Sorry, it's getting a little messy. Okay, so that was your fast break, that's your slow break, okay? And then you want some type of motion, okay? So very basic can just be drive and cut through. So the simplest form of a motion, she drives, the adjacent cuts through, okay? And you usually want your lefty player here, your best lefty attacker, and then your righty here for the crease roll. So on either side. When this happens, if she drives, okay, this defender either pulls to her to double the ball, or she cuts through with her, which creates space for her. So pass, okay, so you pass, drive, then the adjacent cuts through, and you can play from there. Couple things to teach them. The ball gets doubled, you're wide open now in the middle. She follows, you can drive. These players also have to pinch like over. Give this space to play out. You always want to give the driver room and space. You have to give them space to play it. Another thing that we talk about a lot is driving a seam. So you don't necessarily, in an motion attack, want to drive at a defender. I want to drive the seam of the two, because that's what creates it all. So another thing that this is pretty difficult to teach, but another concept that we should start teaching at the youth level, it's called must-go. So basically, if someone drives, so if I'm an attacker and I drive here, okay, I just drew these two defenders in to double the ball. You have to drive hard and you have to drive a seam to get them to bite. That's like the number one thing, be a threat on attack. I drove here, I got them to bite. She no longer has a defender on her. Her defender slid to ball because this girl was a threat. We're getting near the 8 or inside the 8 and doubled. This person needs to cut into the middle and hold. And then we pass the ball twice out. So we pass once, we pass twice, and it's back in the middle, and that girl's usually wide open because the defense struggles to recover. Do we have questions about that? That's a hard concept. Like, I still struggle. G, how many times have you done this drill?
Yeah.
A lot of times. We do this all the time, okay? So anywhere it comes from, so at any point, whatever side it comes from, so if it comes from here, she drives, draws 2, this girl goes middle. This girl can't just hang out though. Like, that's way too far of a pass. She has to then come help. She has to slide over. That's the difficult part of it. We move it once, we move it twice back to the middle, but those, you'll notice these kids are just gonna hang out and be like, they're not gonna wanna pinch and help the ball. You have to teach them to pinch over, help the ball, and the ball comes from the side, the pass comes from the side the defender slid on. Questions about that? It's definitely tricky. Definitely tricky, but the best way to teach it is also do 5-on-5. Don't do 7 out. Do 5 people out, 3 up top, 2 behind, okay? And don't, another thing, try not to have him go inside. You always wanna drive and get the 2 defenders to bite on you, okay? No questions about must-go. So to do it at a practice, to like, I don't know, it's just the drill. Oh, because, so wait, on the whistle, so this is the drill we do with it. This is why we call it. I got your answer now. Okay, 1 second. So if you do 5, which is gonna make it a lot more simpler, you do 5 out for a drill, 2 behind. What we do is you move the ball quick. On the whistle, you must go. Yeah, I had to think about that. So in the drill, move the ball, move the ball, move the ball. All the defenders are in. Okay, on the coach's whistle, you have to go. So must go, you have to drive. So if these girls are passing the ball around, tweet on her, you have to drive, and then we play it out. So you drive, drew the 2 defenders. Okay, she slid in, move it. She has to move the ball twice back to the middle girl. And if they do defend her in the middle, then someone on the outside's open. So like, it's reading what kind of situation you have. So sometimes it's not the middle girl because the defense figured it out and collapsed. Now it's the outside girl. Okay, great. So I think just making sure you at least have something. Like, you at least have something to give them when you're man up, when there's a yellow card. So basically, if there's a yellow card, your defense is now in a zone, okay? So there could be 2, okay? Okay, this defense is 6 now, okay? Because you have a yellow card, the girl's out, she did something. They're playing a zone, they're not man-to-man anymore because you're man down. Did you do this in D?
So yeah, we do so.
No, in their D session? Okay. Basically, each person in this man-down defense has, we call it like a slice, and they have a section they're covering. They're not covering people. And when you're attacking a zone man-to-man, you now don't play, in a man-to-man, you now don't play people, you play the gaps if you're attacking a zone in a man-to-man. if they're even, is what I meant to say. So here's the man down zone, and you said you play a 2-3-2. Perfect. So what they're saying is they have 2 up top. They have 2 maybe on the elbows. So that's 3. They're 3 across, and they're 2 behind. Okay. Oh, I should make these Ds. Okay. So what's great about this, so basically you can even call this a 2-3-2, or just you posted someone up in the middle. What's great about this is the D has to cover that girl in the middle somehow, or they leave her open, which is a problem. But the D has to cover this girl in the middle, so maybe this D pinches to cover here. Now the outside girl's open, okay? Or this D pinches to cover here. These might slide over in a zone, but somebody on the outside is open. So if you have a set for if you're man up, posting someone in the middle is really good because somehow the D has to cover them. And they have to figure that out, and letting your team know it's either the girl in the middle is wide open or someone on the outside is wide open. And you have to move the ball quickly. You have to stay. We don't really want to drive. We don't want to cut. We want to hold this shape, move the ball till we see what the defense does. Any questions with that? Then you can post 2 in the middle if you want. You could do, so you can also do 1 up top. And there's 4, so 1-4-2 you can also do, because these defenders are going to struggle. Like, how do we cover the middle? How do we cover the outside in this zone? Okay, so just having something to give them. And I think starting off with posting 1 person in the middle is really good. I think that's smart. Anything with man up, attack? Nothing? Okay, great. And have fun with it, like give it a silly name, make all your plays something fun with a funky name. So I'll do these different colors. When you're getting into different types of motions, we like to keep it creative instead of giving an exact play. Like at Massachusetts, they'll give you a shape that they want you to do, and it's not like you're gonna be a robot and do this. It's more like get into the shape and we'll see how the defense plays it. So one thing you can do, one shape that we do is there's 2 behind, there's 3 up top, and there's 2 in the middle, okay? This is, and you wanna work with your section, basically. So the 2 behind are working together, the 2 in the middle are working together, and the 3 up top are working together. They're all almost their own sections, but then they all come together to work as one. So basically, if the ball's up top, these 3 are working together. So things you can do up here, you can go pass and pick away. You can cut through for a drive. So all these, there's lots of things you can do up top. You can do like a 3-man weave if you want, pass and cut through. As this is happening though, these 2 have to always be opposite ball. So if we're working the ball up top, these 2 might come low. So ball might be here. So you want your 2 people in the middle always working opposite where the ball is, okay? These 2 people can sometimes be either really good people who can receive and shoot in the middle and get open off a stack, or sometimes you hide people that can't always catch and throw, and you put them in here to just occupy defenders in there. Okay, so that top section, they're working together, pass, cut through, maybe setting picks. These 2 are always opposite ball. So ball's over here, your stack is now gonna shift maybe low over here, okay? And the other thing you can teach them, if this person has the ball, right, and we're a good driving team, maybe this attacker also shifts over. Now look how much space she has to drive, this girl right here. And this person might pinch over. Now we have so much space, we're probably attacking almost half of an 8 meter with just 1 person. Okay, so there's so much you can do out of this. So the ball could be behind, right? So when the ball goes behind in this shape, the 2 people have to shift. Ball's now behind. Our 2 are shifting opposite ball. These 2 want to make sure their defender's heels are on the 8, always. Okay, so they're making sure they're occupying the defenders heels are on the 8, the 3 working up top, and then there's 2 working behind. Okay, so these 2, there's lots of stuff they can do behind. They can mirror, which is super dangerous. So it's like a cat and mouse game. We can have 1 behind, 1 here, and they're mirroring each other. So as she starts to go this way, this person goes that way. So they're working together, a cat and mouse game with their defenders. This person can drive. Maybe she draws this girl's defender over, so they double here. Now this girl pinches over, she's wide open, okay, on the crease. Okay, there's lots of stuff you can do. You can do flips, you can do fake flips, so much you can do behind to work that 2-man game. These 2 behind. And then these 2 in the middle have to occupy though. But, say our defense is in, our defense is in here, and this person drives, and maybe this defender slides, right? Now this girl's wide open in the middle. So it's always reading your defense. How are they sliding? Am I sliding with my slide? Am I going in the middle with my slide? So this is another just like set you can put them in. 2 behind, 2 in the middle, 3 up top. And a way to work this at practice is break this into chunks. Like have a day where you just work 2-man at X. So you're just working the 2-man game at X for your attacking practice. Then you're just working the 3 people up top together for your attacking practice. And then maybe you're doing these 2 sections. So maybe you're doing the 3 up top and the 2 in the middle. And then maybe another day you're doing the 2 behind and the 2 in the middle. Sorry, this drawing has gotten crazy. Okay, let me just erase this. So there's lots of different shapes. You can do 3 behind, and then you have a 2-man game and a 2-man game up top on both sides of the 8. So there's lots you can do. One thing I wanted to just go over before the end of this is the 2-man game. So how many of you are teaching the 2-man game right now with your team? A couple of us. It's really big right now. So we're actually gonna move from the whiteboard. Okay, so 2-man game. So basically, this is getting huge in the women's game. It's been in the men's game for a while, but there's a lot you can do. So you can have these 2 players, like we did on the board. They can have a section of the 8 that they're working while other things are going on. So one thing we can do, so you can start with the ball, G. You always want to set your team up for success. So I'm a righty, and probably a lot of your team is. So we're setting up the righty. So what she's gonna do is she's gonna pass to me, and she's gonna go set a pick on my defender. She doesn't want to make it super obvious, and I don't want to stare at her, okay? So I'm not going to stare at my girl, and notice the space she's leaving between her and the defender. What I want to do is I want to drag my defender here, make them not think I'm using it. You can stay, G. And then I come off it, and I come right off G's shoulder. So she traps this defender here. Defense now has to make a decision. Am I staying, which means they stay with their attackers, or am I switching? Okay, so it's very similar to basketball. Do the defenders stay or do they switch? Okay, the next thing G could do is she can give me a flip. So we can be working together. I'm on the outside, she flips this ball up. I'm coming right down the alley off her shoulder and I'm coming free. Okay, she can give me a fake flip. So if G's over here, she's gonna fake flip it to me. She's gonna keep it herself and I'm gonna pretend I have the ball and it's like a little hidden ball trick. Okay, so there's the flip, there's the fake flip, there's the pick. The other thing she can do is a pick. So she's gonna come set me up. I'm gonna come off her, but she's gonna slip and roll inside. Yep, and ask for it right there, and I can give her the ball. Okay, so make sure they're always slipping. So you go back, Jay, sorry, I'm just gonna use it for a second. Make sure they're always opening. Yeah, you can go off the defender too, that would be a roll. So this would be a roll if she rolls off the defender with her inside shoulder opening. Then the slip would be if she slipped inside the 2 defenders. Opens up and slips inside. So you can either roll off or slip inside. Okay, so we have the pick, we have the pick and slip, we have the pick and roll, we have the flip, we have the fake flip. We can also do a slip screen, which means basically she's gonna pretend she sets a pick, but she goes right through the middle of them. Yep, and asks for the ball. So that's a slip screen. We didn't actually end up doing the pick and slip or anything like that. Okay? we can X cut. So we're here, at the same time we're coming off one another's shoulders and we bring the defenders. We should have done it a little more tight than that, but that's part of the two-man game. Okay, so working together. Do you guys have anything else? Like, anything I haven't mentioned about the two-man game? Yeah. Correct. So if they switch, if they decide to switch, I can deny the pick. So if they're like switch, if I'm about to go and they say switch, I go whoop, and I come on the other side and deny. So you can either use the pick or refuse the pick. So use it, and that's all depending, like that's really hard to get your attackers to listen to what they're doing, but maybe if you know this team normally stays, this team normally switches, then you'll be able to tell your team what to do in that situation, but that's a good point. Any questions about the two-man game? An important part of setting up the two-man game is called a mirror. So just like we said about the attack on the X players mirroring each other. So if I have the ball and G goes inside of the 8, just say that's the 8. If I go this way, she's going opposite me. If I go this way, she's going the other way. She might give me a head nod, set the pick. She comes, sets the pick, now I'm coming off it. It makes it a lot more hard to read instead of just going and setting a pick. So being that actual mirror inside player. Okay, so that's a good way to teach them how to set up their attack and start the two-man game. Okay, so setting the pick. So the biggest part is it has to be a T. So basically her shoulders have to be in a T with the defender's shoulders here. We don't want it too close because I want to drag my defender into my teammate, okay? You also can't set a blind pick, which means G would be behind the defender, and she can't see. The defender has to see the person setting the pick. You also can't move. So G can't be moving, running towards her, anything. She has to set and stay, okay? So those are a couple things when setting the pick, because you'll be caught for a moving pick or a blind pick, okay? So also, yeah. You have to set with your stick here, okay? And I want to drag my defender into my teammate to then go off the pick. Okay? We good? All right, thank you guys. Thank you.